My name is Teresa Cash Lewis, and I am class of 1999, and I am the current Alumni Board President. Thank you so much for coming here today. All of you have traveled away from your homes and your family to be here because you love Mary Baldwin University and you have fond memories of when you were students here on campus. Since last November, and especially last week, it's been a roller coaster ride. I see the hurt, the anger, and the disappointment, and I understand it. It's very real. But we are graduates of Mary Baldwin, and as its graduates, let's do what our predecessor alumni have done for us when our alma mater calls upon us. We gather, we think critically, we work cooperatively and productively. And following that path that is already paved for us, now is the time for us to step up to the plate and move forward. Yes, we are going through a difficult time, and yes, the decision to introduce a co-educational residential program was a very difficult and certainly controversial decision. However, we all have one thing in common, and that is our love for Mary Baldwin University, more specifically the College for Women, and our desire to see it succeed. Today is a day for engagement and education. We are back on campus to learn and to engage. We are here to learn more about the financial difficulty Mary Baldwin University is in, and to learn more about the challenges it is facing. We are here to engage and identify solutions. How can we help current students begin their next chapter after graduation and build their career? How can we help admissions market Mary Baldwin and find the next Mary Baldwin student? How can we engage each other through campus events and local events? How can we help Mary Baldwin meet its annual giving goals and build its together? Today is devoted to answering these questions. This morning is dedicated to understanding our current financial situation. This afternoon is dedicated to problem solving. This way we can use the information we have gained to plan for the future. I know many of you have questions. I respectfully ask that you hold your questions until the presentations are done. Your questions may be answered during these presentations. Janine Haslam, fellow Alumni Board member, will be moderating each Q&A session. This morning's session is being recorded. One each of the 4 breakout sessions this afternoon will also be taped, and those recordings will be posted online. So now I welcome President Fox to make her remarks.
Good morning and welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I want to echo what Teresa said. Thank you so much for taking your time away from home and family to travel up here, to come back to your alma mater. We are deeply grateful to have each one of you here with us today. We're also glad to have faculty and staff, and I know that you will enjoy seeing them and having some opportunity to dialogue with them, so we appreciate your presence today very much as well. Teresa, I want to thank you and the Alumni Board for all of your work today to help us planning this session and in facilitating it throughout the day, so we're very grateful for your help. And as Teresa said in her opening remarks, we are all here together to learn about Mary Baldwin today and to take advantage of your willingness to engage and be part of helping us move forward. So today is phase 2. Today is a new chapter. We have listened, we have heard, especially throughout our 5-city listening tour. We have heard your desire to be informed and engaged, including the need for us to improve and enhance all of our efforts for communication and following through on your generous offers to assist us in so many ways. So that's why this afternoon we'll be devoted to those 4 key breakout sessions so that we can offer more information about the specific ways that you can be engaged so that we can learn more about each individual's keenest areas of interest and how you want to be involved. As you know, we've already taken some important steps forward in enhancing our communication efforts, and we have heard that you want to understand more about our future, and most importantly, about how we can continue to enhance the heart of our institution that being the Mary Baldwin College for Women. So shortly, our board chair, Jane Miller, and I will share some comparative information about the women's colleges across the United States. We have also heard your desire to hear more about our financial position. We have prepared our historical summary of our financial position and the 2016 financial summaries. As you saw, it is a working copy to be informed still somewhat. If you have opportunity to get input on that today, and to thank so many individuals. I know that you can imagine how many people in the institution took part in pulling together this broad legacy of financial information, across the last 3-year period. So that will all come together and be put into graphic design and be available in a final copy. But most importantly, this is about your ideas. It is about being gathered here today. And we'll pull all of those together at the end of the day, your input in the breakout sessions, on the survey forms that we'll have for you, and summarize that so that everybody might be able to see it. So Jane and I would like to begin now with our discussion about women's colleges. This comes from my ongoing work with the Women's College Coalition and with other national higher ed organizations, and from Jane's deep research to comparative information about the women's colleges that remain in the United States today. So she's going to come forward and pass some slides that pulls comparative from the 31 college data set that we had as reference in the annual report, and then I'll come back to guide us about it.
If you're behind me, your head is in here. That's where we always do. It's good, they can. More.
Okay.
So much nicer to be able to see more adults.
I don't know if you remember the hat speech, but the president goes back, not worrying about
Thank you, Steph.
Okay, the other challenge we all have is that I am a bifocal dropout. And so when I look at my notes, I have to look without my glasses. And when I turn to this, and all of you are a complete blur to me. And when I look at the screen, it's a blur, so I'm going to be changing back and forth. So if someone is, I was telling Janann, I think I will be able to notice there's a neon sign up at some point. But that's about all I can see when I don't have my glasses down. So I apologize for that. Let's see how this works. All right, so we're going to go very quickly. We did hear from a number of alumni that they would be interested in a context for the Mary Baldwin specific situation based on the conditions at other women's colleges, particularly those in they're all in the Women's College Coalition. The 31 that we refer to, you'll be seeing again in the comparable data that's in the annual report. There are a few more in the Women's College Coalition. Some of the ones are real outliers. Rutgers University, the public University of New Jersey, has a women's college that is basically a women's dorm and some special activities. But that's just not a comparable set of numbers for us to work through. So that's the kind of thing that we excluded. These are excluded as a group because they have very large endowments and international reputations. And while our goals and our ideals about women-centered education may be similar in many ways, we do not share the same kind of financial challenges, or they do not share the kind of financial challenges. So we're not going to talk a lot about them today. We also had, there we go. This is a group that's either gone co-ed or is announcing that they're going to go co-ed. The St. Joseph's College that announced this morning that it's closing is not the same St. Joseph's. That one's in Connecticut. The one that's closing is in Rensselaer. Unfortunately, it was a lovely institution, very like ourselves, 125 years old, years of liberal arts, education for people. It was trying to keep about 1,100 students and its numbers sank to just above 900 and it could not be sustained. Its endowment was about 10 million less than ours, but it nonetheless was in many ways similarly resourced. and it's announced today that it's closing its doors, except for the nursing school, which it runs in conjunction with another college. That was a partnership. So, you know, but that's not the same St. Joseph. That's just St. Joseph's. Okay, so that's what we're thinking about today. So starting with Agnes Scott, which certainly is a school that we think, you know, we certainly have students that look at both schools and come to us. There are 940 women. They have a very large endowment compared to ours, and really compared to many of the smaller large colleges. They are doing well on their recruiting. However, that is at the price of a very large endowment draw. They run a budget of about $50 million a year for 940 students. We run a budget in the mid-30s for 1650 students. And you know, they're taking 20% of their endowment a year in order to support that. So I'm just pointing out ways in which we're alike and which we're different. And of course, we would not be able to take their approach. Alverno this is interesting. When you go through, you'll see this as a theme. There are a number of colleges that have never built up their campuses. So they don't have large on-campus housing that requires acreage and support. This college is these tend to be in more urban areas with higher population density than Stanton. And so this is a college, a women's college, where they have 85% of off campus. And I've looked at them, I can't quite figure out why their 5-year graduation rate is only 17%. This is Sarah Flanagan. Sarah, tell us why you know.
Sorry, I'm on the board and I work for an association in Washington that represents all these colleges. I know Alverno quite well. Their primary mission is educating adult women in non-traditional ways. And when you look at graduation rates, they only look at full-time, first-time students and see where they are 4, 5, and 6 years later. So most of their population is not even counted in here because they're either part-time, non-traditional women. So they do a fantastic job. They have a very different kind of curriculum. They give credit for life skills so that attracts a lot of non-traditional women with a bulk of their
and they are in a much larger population.
They're urban, very urban Catholic.
Bay Cap is a very successful school, although they do have, they're not set. Anybody with 41 million is not set up. They continually are creating programs. They've had mixed success in some of the things they're doing lately, but they're doing fairly well. They too are in a very urban area, the Boston suburbs, and they have a lot of non-residential. So they don't have, they don't have Woodson and Spencer, let's say. Bennett is probably a very unfortunate story, as you can see there. They're on watch, and their enrollment has reached a level that is in a state beyond crisis. Brunel is a real success story. They are thriving. They are a small coeducational university with a number of colleges, including a women's college. I think it's interesting if you read the comments they made publicly when they have been asked, how do you think you still have a women's college? And they say, our women believe they are attending a women's college, they report the same benefits as women attending other women's colleges. Our faculty believe they are teaching in a women's college, and what do you need for a women's college? And they are doing extremely well. They had a situation where they were able to build the men's dorms across the street from the main campus. But they certainly are a college that we've looked at for how a hybrid solution took them from a precarious financial position to a sound financial position. Cedar Crest is another off-campus residence college. They also are in an area with other colleges, and they have cross-registration with the other colleges. St. Benedict and St. College of St. John, they run a 10-minute bus service back and forth between the two. Events and classes are fully integrated, although their living quarters are completely separate on the original campuses of the male college and the female college. Columbia is reported in the press. There's recent articles you can Google about them. They're perceived to be in a significant amount of distress due to really the same issues that we face. Cotty is a very interesting place. It's quite small, as you can see, and it's owned by Methodist women. For years, the society that owned it seemed to be very secretive about the fact that they were Methodist women, and they recently revealed themselves. And they are expanding their successful schools. You see that their mission, they have historically given almost all associate degrees. They're giving more four-year degrees, and they have a nice endowment, and for their size, and they've expanded their recruiting some. But it's you can see there's just many points on which it would be difficult to compare that Cotty to almost any other women's college. Hollins. Hollins is not able to enroll as many students as Mary Baldwin. They do, however, have a much larger endowment. They have a very small graduate school. And I meant to put up here their endowment draw is usually about 7%, which is, we'll discuss that more, but it's high. And to support their efforts, it's requiring that endowment size. Meredith is it's in the research triangle, and it also relies a lot on day students, and but it has a large undergraduate woman population, but many of them do live off campus, more than 50%, and it has a decent size endowment, although they probably would like to have closer to the Hollins size as well. Mills is a college in California. It's very similar to Mary Baldwin in many respects. If you look at the student population, the percentage of Pell Grants, it has the same sort of graduate school in many respects. The same. It doesn't have the health sciences, but it has the education and things like that. According to articles in the press, they are struggling based on enrollment and extremely high discount rates, and have themselves and debate whether they are sustainable in their current level. This predicted on here in the second half of the, so I'm going to go very quickly through things. Maybe we can yeah. So actually, you can put one up so I remember what we're saying. Notre Dame of Maryland in Baltimore, Maryland, has about 1,000 female undergraduates. It's a Catholic liberal arts women's college. Down to 40 million, very limited on-campus housing, and it shares facilities with its brother campus, Loyola, which is next door in Coda. St. Mary's in Notre Dame, Indiana, is a very successful women's college by far. It does a lot of health sciences, $165 million endowment, a nursing school. It was the woman's part of the University of Notre Dame, the big University of Notre Dame, and there's cross-registration available, and it's right across the street. Scripps in Claremont is also another, this is another trend that you'll see. The first one I'll say, and so I'll just say this is a part of the trend of being a part of a very active consortium. There's a 5-college consortium around Claremont with Pomona, some other leading colleges, and they've divided up the majors among the colleges. There's sharing of facilities and coursework. Simmons in Boston is part of the Boston 6-college consortium, which shares classes, facilities, and social events among those colleges in Boston. They have 1,700 undergraduate women. Spelman in Atlanta is one of the historically black colleges. It has a large endowment of 362. 70% live on campus. There are no athletics there, and a number of programs are offered through partners in the Atlanta University Consortium. Spelman and the other historically black colleges are having enrollment issues of their own, but with 362 million, Spelman in particular is not particularly sensitive, not as sensitive as, say, a Bennett that we saw earlier. St. Catherine's in St. Paul, Minnesota is another women's college within a small co-ed university. 95% of its undergraduates are women. 85% are from Minnesota, and 60% live off campus. They have 200 traditional women and about another 1,000 undergraduates in co-ed programs. Stevens in Columbia, Missouri is a pre-professional women's college. They have 715 women and nothing else, no other programs and other than an undergraduate program, and only have less than 50 million endowment. But their majors are school counseling, medical records, fashion merchandising, and pre-professional majors and other courses. Sweetbriar has 70, you see different numbers for the Sweetbriar Environmental Endowment online. This number is from U.S. News and World Report, 77 million. Liberal Arts Women's College, 320 graduates is also what U.S. News says. That's generally considered not sustainable. I mean, I certainly wish them the best. I'm from Roanoke, Virginia. If you speak to the Sweetbriar graduates that I know, people are very concerned. And if you read the recent articles in which Phil Stone, the interim president, was widely quoted, I think that there is a question of how are things going to be brought forward. Trinity Washington University in Washington, D.C. is a very urban university. It's also a women's college within a co-ed university. They have about 1,500 undergraduates. They have a very small endowment. They are trying to raise their total enrollment with their graduate program is about a little over 2,500 or a little under 2,500. They're trying to raise it, including increases in the women's college, to 3,000 by 2020. They announced that plan 3 years ago, and they have not been able to progress toward it. Wheelock College in Boston is like Spelman. It's in the same consortium. They only have undergraduates, women undergraduates. There are 811 of them. They're in that 6-college coalition and share all their courses and social events and facilities such as libraries and athletic facilities with that coalition. So that gives you a little bit of a comparable introduction into the women's college scene at the moment. So I think I'm going back to you, right?
And I think just to add to that, but I wanted to say, to follow up on what Jane was saying, that, in the wonderful conversations that we're able to have, rich conversations with colleagues in the Women's College Coalition, and I know that two of our deans were with the Women's College Coalition last week in San Francisco at the AACU conference. I mean, what you can deduce from the comparative data that Jane was sharing is that each institution has found its way. And we're very, very different. We share similar values, of course, the commitment to the maintenance of women's education. But it's fascinating to hear from the presidents and from other individuals in each of these colleges how they arrive at those decisions and how all of those programs combine into what's really, in this deck, 31 quite different solutions. So thank you.